What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with another Mass Effect 3 solo mission in multiplayer. Today we are going to be doing bronze yet again. I'm working on my bronze solos. I believe, counting this one, 5 more to go. Today we're going to be using the human female engineer. This is one of the characters you actually will get with the game when you first start out playing multiplayer. You don't have to get her through any of the packs that you open. And she's got some actually pretty decent powers. I've actually been using her in silver a lot and having a pretty good time in addition to the male human engineer. Those are two of the better opening characters you can get, just given their power set. They both have combat drone, incinerate, and overload, which are 3 really great powers, especially incinerate and overload. What makes these characters so well rounded is overload is great for taking down enemy shields, and incinerate is great for taking down enemy armor. So I also wanted to do one of the opening characters you get during one of these solo missions to show that you can indeed use the entry-level characters you get to solo if you want to try it. Like I said in my other video, it is kind of difficult to solo in this game because you're actually playing content made for 2 to 4 people trying to solo it. And again, like I said before, I'm not the greatest Mass Effect 3 multiplayer player ever. I think I'm pretty good, but you know, I'm just kind of doing these so you guys can come along and see how we do on these solos as I work on the Lone Wolf achievement in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Now today's map we are on is Firebase Reactor. This is a hazard map. There are a couple of hazard maps in the game that came with one of the DLC packs for multiplayer. Again, guys, if you haven't added all those into your multiplayer on Mass Effect 3, make sure you go to the store and buy, or not buy, but get all the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer packs because they are free. You can download all of them. Unless you have all of those, you will not have all the maps, and you probably will have a lot of trouble finding a game in ME3 multiplayer right now. But like I said, a lot of new people coming into the game, so hopefully you guys are finding these little runs and solos and guides and things helpful. But Firebase Reactor is a hazard map, like I said, and the cool thing in this one is you've got this giant reactor in the middle of the map, and when it powers up all the way, you can actually activate it. It will shut all the doors on the 3 sides. It will lock anybody who's inside the reactor in there, and then it will basically, the reactor will kill everyone inside. The only thing is some bosses will come through it unscathed. They'll only get damaged a little bit. You really can't use it against bosses. But any of the lower level enemies, you can pretty much get a whole bunch of them in there. If you time it right and hit the door, you can even get some kill streaks and get a ton of kills. But on this map, I kind of like to hang out in the back here, like I said, close to the reactor so I can activate it every so often after a bunch of guys come in there. You've only got to really take care of two areas where enemies are going to come from, over here on the left and then through the reactor. So you can have a nice little perch up here and kind of go back and forth. Now, one thing I will say in this solo, I do stay in the back of the map quite a bit. One thing, guys, you do want to make sure you're moving around these maps quite a bit. If you're playing a map that that's not like this, where you have some good cover and a good spot you can kind of hole up in, because the enemies are going to constantly be following you around the map, and you don't want to get overwhelmed. If you usually get at least 2 enemies that you're in front of you, and you can't take them out really quick, you probably need to retreat, fall back a little bit. That's just a habit you need to get into, especially for playing later on when you get onto silver. Bronze is pretty easy. You can get away with quite a few mistakes on bronze, even if you're soloing, because it's a little forgiving. But when you get on silver, the difficulty goes up quite a bit, so keep that in mind. Something I forgot to mention in my last video is to always make sure you're checking around your surroundings, always making sure you're staying on the move through most of these maps when you're trying to solo. That way your enemies are getting strung out. They can't all swarm you at one time, and it just makes things a whole lot easier. And another reminder, like I said the last video we did, was you're going to be kind of at the mercy of the game on Wave 3, Wave 6, and Wave 10 when you get your objectives. You can see here we got kind of lucky. We got a hack objective right where we were standing in a good cover place. We were able to actually pull this off. We could shut the reactor doors to keep that side clear. And then I really just had to focus on this left side here, taking these guys down. Now you will get objective waves sometimes that are really difficult to do on the solo. And like I mentioned, most of them you have that full 5-minute time period. Don't be afraid to take the whole 5-minute time period. If you have to kind of kite the enemies around the map to get them away from the objective and then circle back to get it, you usually will have plenty of time to do that. But the number one thing is not to panic when you get these objective waves. Try to strategize, see where the objective is, see if you can get to it if there's not a whole lot of enemies surrounding it, and get it taken care of. And if not, try to lure the enemies away a little bit and then go back to it. So that's just some couple basic tips. One thing I also say that you guys need to kind of get in practice of as you are playing, whether you're doing team-based or if you're trying to solo maps, is that you want to try to save your missiles for the last 2 waves. That's going to be wave 10 and wave 11. Now, sometimes you can burn some on wave 9 when you get into the tougher difficulties, but wave 10 is going to be your final objective wave, and you want to make sure you complete that objective wave because that's going to give you the most credits out of the entire match. And those missiles can come in handy. You're going to get a lot of bosses that come on wave 10, especially when you go up to silver and gold. And platinum is just a mess. I haven't even, I'm not even going to try platinum yet. But, and then wave 11 obviously is going to be your extraction wave. So you want to make sure you have a couple missiles saved up for your extraction waves. You'll usually see me use missiles on wave 10 and wave 11. Bronze, I sometimes will try to not even use them on that, Vanguard solo. I was actually able to take out a lot of the Geth primes. Just using biotic charge in my shotgun. So if you can do that, try to save your missiles. Try to get used to playing without having to use missiles, but don't make the mistake I see a lot of people do, and that's when they get into actual matches with, public matches with other people. They just hold on to their missiles on the last 2 waves, and you'll see the team wipe or wipe on extraction. And just if you got the equipment, especially when you're playing silver and gold or higher up, make sure you use that equipment to help your teammates out. That's the thing about this game. Even though we are running some solos here, we're just doing this to work on an achievement. And this game is a co-op game. Never worry about who's the #1 scorer, who's getting the most kills. It's all about, everybody working together. And I think that's what really makes this multiplayer so much fun is when you get into the public matches even. Everybody usually is trying to help each other out. There's really not too many people going all lone wolf and trying to hog all the kills and things. It's just a very, very good co-op game, very good co-op community. So it's one thing I really do enjoy about Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. So this solo, like I said, this is, I believe, I think I'm going to have 4 more after this. So we're going to try to get to the bronze tier, and then we're going to move up to silver, which silver will probably have to use some different characters, but I'm going to try to use these basic opening characters for the bronze solos, just so you guys can see that it actually can be done with some of those opening characters, and that some of these opening characters are pretty solid. Now, one other thing, if you guys do want to try to do solos on this game, you are going to have to set you have to go into your create new match, set your match to private, and then you can select your map. You can select what enemies you want to fight. I would just definitely recommend if you're first starting out to pick your map and pick your enemies. Pick a map that you're comfortable with, a map that you know well, or if you want to get to know the maps, you could also play it on random map, and then that way it's going to help you learn a little bit. I would not put it on random enemy though, because there are certain factions that are really, really hard to solo. Cerberus and Collectors would probably be the 2 worst. The Geth are usually the easiest to solo. That's why I've been playing them here on these first 2 matches, because I'm a little rusty. I'm trying to get back into doing these solos. So the Geth, as long as you have a character that's got some kind of tech power, Overload works really good. That's why I chose this character. You've got Incinerate. You've also got Overload. The Turian Sentinel also works great because he has Overload and Warp, which work on shields and armor. So you want to make sure you use a character that's got powers for what you're going to encounter in the match. And that's one way to make it a little bit easier for yourself. When you start getting better, then you can put it on random or start playing different factions. I'll probably try to put some Reapers in here at some point, maybe even do a little bit of Cerberus. Collectors, though, I don't know yet. The Collectors are just really tough in this game overall, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get there, maybe not. But that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, if you have any questions about anything with Mass Effect 3, whether it's multiplayer, whether it's Mass Effect in general, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Watch some of my other guide videos. Like I said, I'll be doing a lot of these. I've got a couple more to do on bronze. We've got to do 5 on silver and probably 2 on gold, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do those just yet. I still need to unlock some better characters that I can try to do gold with. Still don't have some of the more overpowered characters that will make doing gold solos a little bit easier. But either way, this is kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying this. And the other thing too, guys, if you try to do solo matches, even if you die a few times, even if you don't make it all the way to the last extraction, it's a good way to work on your skills. It's a good way to learn your character's powers, what their limitations are, how far you can push them, and you get to learn a lot about, how you can play that class, how much damage you can push them through, how much you can just tank standing up, things like that. It's really actually pretty good practice and experience, and it'll just make you a better player when you get into the co-op when you're playing with 2 to 3 4 other people. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't get too frustrated. I know it can be difficult. I used to die a lot on trying my solos. I used to not even be able to make it past like wave 6 of bronze, and now I'm able to solo some of these without even actually dying at all in the whole match. So yeah, it takes some time. This is a tough game to learn how to play, but it's a very rewarding game to learn how to play. It's a lot of fun. So definitely, learn how to maximize your class and just enjoy it and just have some fun. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. I've been talking long enough, so enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again next time.